Can everybody hear me? I'm so happy that they gave me a mic that I can walk around with, because I'm a school teacher. I've been teaching for 13 years. I'm also a conflict resolution trainer. So whenever someone asks me to do one of these, I stand in one spot, I have an allergic reaction. So I'm glad that I can move around. Raise your hand if you feel that kids oftentimes will be what they see. Raise your hand if you feel that way. Now, I know some of us believe it, but we're not raising our hands. So, how many of us, I'll come over here so we can all hear, how many of us feel that oftentimes our kids will be what they see in their environment, in their house, in their school? Raise your hand. Okay. It's amazing that I'm here, surrounded by all of these works of arts. And if you look around, you see all these works of arts here. But that's not what I'm talking about. The real works of art are the young people that you just heard come up here. And I'd like us to just give them a round of applause. But sounding so good that they made it tough for me to come up here. It shines so bright, I had to bring the heat so you could feel it in your seats. I was here last week with Attorney Mosley, and we were on WTNH Channel 8. And Attorney Mosley had told me as soon as he saw me, he said, a 17-year-old was just shot in the chest. Raise your hand if you heard that news report. A 17-year-old on his bike was shot in the chest. Now, if you come from a place where that's not the norm, you'll have a really excited reaction to that type of news. When he told me I had a reaction, but 3 days prior to hearing that, I just ran into one of my childhood classmates who told me that he was recovering from being shot 8 times. Growing up where I grew up in the Red Hook Projects section of Brooklyn, incidents like that were way too common. We just said that kids oftentimes will be what they see, so now you can imagine how young people are acting there. Attorney Mosley, he said that 90% of the kids that go through the Granville program going to college. I wish I could rewind time and join the Granville so that I could make sure that, what's happening today definitely happens. So I want to give you a context for the book and why the book was born. In 1992, actually I'll rewind time a little bit more. Let's go back. In 1986, I had made a decision that I was going to be like the young people that you saw up here. And at the time, I wasn't anywhere near where those young people are. I was just running wild, following the pack, listening to everybody say, you shouldn't be in here writing, you should be outside hanging with the guys, you should be, that's how they were measuring manhood. And I see you nodding over there, right? How hard can you be? How much can you lift? What sport are you playing? That's how they measure manhood. Well, I had made the decision in junior high school that I wanted to be like these young people. I wanted to be like Attorney Mosley. And when I made that decision, how do you think my crew, the people around me, reacted? And we're here together in the spirit of family and community. So please, let's make this interactive. How do you think my friends reacted when I decided that I was going to turn away from all of the foolishness and pick up the pen and get serious about trying to be more than just street life? How do you think they reacted? Someone said negative over here. Harsh. Thought I was a nerd. That's actually gentle. I wish they would have just called me a nerd. They didn't want to be around me no more. This one guy who I was really tight with, who commanded a lot of respect in the school and also in the neighborhood, came from a long line of drug dealers in the community. He made it his mission to make sure that I would not go in the right direction. And I will never forget, one day, he told me while we were crossing over the 142 bridge, there was this bridge that separated the school that I was going to in the white neighborhood from the housing projects where all the black and Latinos live. And we were about to cross over the bridge to go back to the housing projects. And he said, "Hey, yo, why are you looking at my girl for?" And I was looking, who knows what I was looking at? I was looking at the 10 trails in the sky. And I said, "What?" And as soon as I said what, 12 guys had surrounded me. And every single one of the guys who had surrounded me were friends of mine. And I said, "Danny, what are you doing? Latif, what you doing? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing?" They acted like they didn't know me. And they proceeded to jump me and beat me. They wanted me to submit to following that street code, the street light. So the beating started on that side of the bridge, the beating ended on the other side of the bridge. I got to the other side of the bridge, some people saw me, started jumping off the fire escapes, came down, helped me out. My mother went to school the next day and said to the principal, "The fight started on the school grounds, so it's the school's responsibility." Right? You're not, right? Who else feels it's the school's responsibility to seek out disciplinary action? So she told the principal, and the principal looked at my mom and said, "Listen, the project behavior, that ghetto behavior, we don't tolerate it in the school." And what really went down happened in the housing projects, which was totally false. So my mom said, "You know what? Read my lips." And it's not one of those read my lips, no new taxes. It was one of those moments where God was speaking through her. My mother said, "Read my lips. You're going to see these boys in the newspaper if you don't grab them right now." And I'm not saying this in threat. She's just saying it like the elders in this room know. They've been down that road already. So they supposed to predict what's going to happen. You've seen it happen. So they didn't do anything, and if you want to fast forward, in 1992, while I was in college, my mother called me, and she said, "You're not going to believe this, but your elementary school principal, Patrick Daly, he left the school to go into the housing projects after a boy who got into a fight and was trying to run home. And while he was in the housing projects, a few drug dealers who were having a shootout shot the school principal, and he died." Fast forward. I make no apologies, and I don't try to hide the fact that my father was in jail for my whole life. He missed all the birthdays, he missed all the formative years, he missed everything, and also for my siblings. And I had issues with prisons. So the professor told me, "You know what, you need to work on these issues, and the best way you handle your fears is to face your fears. You need to go on." I love it. Her and I, she's nodding, right? You gotta face your fears. You gotta go into, she's nodded that too. So he said, "You gotta go into the belly of the beast and you gotta tutor in this prison." So I decided to do it. I was in the prison. And you know, when you're in jail, you have to get permission to go everywhere, right? So I raised my hand and said, "I gotta use the restroom." And the CEO, the correctional officer, said, "I'll walk with you." So he took me